Harry, this is Lord Potato, and this is What If Naruto was a reincarnation of Raikoku and, and Akaza. So, Raikoku and Akaza. So, if you didn't watch the movie or read the manga, which I haven't watched the movie, but I read the manga before. So, Akaza is a demon that, is martial, like, demon arts are mostly like martial arts, but using ice. And also, Raikoku is, a demon slayer, who his breathing style is fire, flames. So, yeah. Of course, he has about 9 different techniques of flames. Yeah, 9. Because his last one is, his very powerful last one, who he actually uses against Akaza in, the manga fight and all that. Because, you see here, I didn't watch the movie, so I don't know what the fuck happened there. I'm guessing they happened the same as, like, the manga, or they probably changed it. I don't know what really happened. But yeah, I know some people are like, bro, you really read the manga? Bruh, I read the manga like a year ago. So, of course, like, some things I won't be able to remember because, Demon Slayer is slower than the manga because they finished the manga like a year ago. I'm like, damn, I really read through this shit easily, but I never watched the anime. Huh. I should probably watch the anime. Yeah, I should probably definitely watch the anime. Because Demon wants me to make a what if Tanjiro was something. I forgot what the hell was his breathing style again. But whatever. Not the point. So, of course, I already mentioned that Raikoku is a demon slayer, while Akaza is a demon. Who's, I think, not the second seed, I think, fourth upper moon man. Because the third one was, yeah. I think he was fourth. Wait, what the fuck? No, he's upper moon 3, so rank 3. So yeah. So I thought he was 4 because the 2 would be what to call. So 1 would be. Oh no, I really fucked that up. Yeah, so 1 would be Kogashibo. 2 would be the guy that's beauty and all that, and 3, of course, is Akaza. My head is just fucking. For some reason, I thought of Muzan being one of them, but I don't know why I thought of it. For some reason, I thought of the smooth criminal being one of them. Now, what's it called? Not the point. Now that I think about, I feel like doing What If Naruto was a smooth criminal. But not the point. God, I'm okay. This is the longest fucking intro for fuck's sakes. I should shut the fuck up. But yeah, let me go on with the what if. Now, with Naruto, we go into Naruto being born. Of course, Naruto's hair is like a bunch of fucking colors mix and match. Because, it's kind of like pink, orange, and yellow. Yeah. So it's like pinkish, and one side of his hair color is kind of pinkish, and the other side is kind of red and, yellow or orange. Is it orange, red, or I don't know what Raikoku's hair color is. Is it like reddish orange, or is it orange yellowish? No, red yellow or orange yellow. I don't know what to say. Fuck it, I don't care. It's definitely, I'm just saying red. I don't care anymore. But of course, this is where we go into Naruto. Being born. Of course, Minato is like confused why the fuck his son has 3 different hair colors, like so different from his. Like, he can explain the yellow, he can explain somewhat the orange and red hair color, but the pink. Where the fuck? His genes doesn't even have pink hair. Who the fuck? The Kuchina just cheat on me, but there's no one in this goddamn village or in the goddamn world with pink hair. What the fuck? And then he thinks about it. Yellow and pink doesn't make, not yellow and pink. Yellow and red does not make pink. It makes fucking orange. Or, what the? He's just confused. The only thing he can think of is Jiraiya. Because how Jiraiya has white hair and Kushina has red hair, and that's the only way to make like pink hair. He's like, no, Jiraiya's, is that really natural? Nah, I shouldn't really think about this. I gotta go save not save my son, Kushina. So yeah, he was kind of thinking of why his son had this hair color when he kind of got him away from what's it called, well, Obito. So yeah. Of course, everything would still go the same. Kushina is still happy her baby boy is born, blah blah blah. The Ninetales would be still in Naruto, and yeah. Now, we go into Naruto's actually being, well, 4 years old. Now, Naruto is kind of always like, he's like, how should I say? Kind of, how should I say? Very, very like, well, after that little distraction, yes, let me go back to what I was saying. Okay, so Naruto, his personality is not like what's called original canon. He is more bright. Of course, he very smiles a lot brighter because he's Rengoku, but he also has the same personality of, well, Akaza, well, in the night. So, what I mean is that Naruto has two personality kind of switch. In the daylight, he is a very bright kid and a very strong kid, like Rengoku. But in the night, he's a very, well, kind of demonic kid. Okay, look here. Think of it like a werewolf transformation. It's when a werewolf kind of transform into, well, this beast at night and all that, or whatever. And then morning, he's human and all that. Yeah, think of it like that, but instead, Naruto's right now just very bright, but of course in the night, he's very ruthless and doesn't care about anyone. He only fights those who are strong. So yeah, he has Akaza's personality and, well, Rengoku's personality. Kind of a mix and match. Weird, but yeah. Now, of course, does Naruto go into a demon form at night? No, not really. He still hasn't discovered much powers of becoming a demon. Now, when he's, well, it's gonna be like this. In the night, he's actually gonna be able to transform into a demon, but in the day, he's back to, well, being kind of like a human. So yeah. So, of course, we go into that. So, one night, what's it called, Naruto was kind of like, what's it called, going to the shop. Of course, people still overcharged him, and people said that's the demon and all that. But guess what? When Danzo said that Naruto was a demon and all that, Naruto doesn't have the whisker marks. He never was born with the whisker marks. He's just born with random colored hair. And of course, this is where, well, Naruto was there kind of looking at Danzo kind of confusedly. He was like, what the fuck is a demon? This is where everyone looks at Danzo also confused. The fuck is it? What do you mean? This kid has no whisker marks. Or, no, they don't even look at him like he's a demon or anything. It's just like, this kid doesn't look like a demon. He's way too cheerful to be a kid. This is where Danzo says, he is the demon, he's the Ninetales. He's trying to, like, make every villager hate Naruto. But Naruto's bright smile is, like, changing their hearts from them listening to Danzo to him just ignoring Danzo. Because Naruto's very, like, bright smiling. Like, very brave and all that, blah, blah, blah. It's just like Rengoku. So, of course, this is where, well, everyone is just, like, looking at Naruto, looking at Danzo, and they are thinking Danzo's fucking crazy. Now, of course, Danzo did kind of spread the freaking rumor. But, of course, some people think that Danzo's fucking insane. Which some other people who have more hatred emotions want to blame it on someone. So, blame it on Naruto. But, of course, it's like a freaking 50-50 around the village. Some people hate Naruto, some people don't hate Naruto. Because they can't really see Naruto being a demon. When Naruto's very happy and cheerful. Of course, this is where everyone is just like having somewhat of a riot. And of course, this is where Hiruzen had to make a fucking law. Because, well, Danzo already did told Naruto was already a demon. Which some people admit to, well, Danzo already told almost everyone that Naruto was a demon, quote unquote. Some people that really didn't hate Naruto. And some of the other people didn't really tell Hiruzen that Danzo told them about Naruto being a demon. The ones that hate Naruto. So, of course, this is where Hiruzen, he looks at Danzo and says, bitch, did you fucking tell them that Naruto was a demon? First of all, he's a fucking child. That's a fucking low blow. He's only 4. The fuck? This is where, well, Hiruzen says, no, I did not tell him. Half the villagers says, yes, you did. This is where Danzo says, fuck. This is where Hiruzen told some ambus to grab, what's it called, Danzo, and execute him. So, yeah. So they basically grabbed Danzo, put him in the what's called in the stadium and all that because Hiruzen explained that Naruto's not a demon. Danzo's insane. He's been smoking that leaf, that holy leaf, and so gotta execute Danzo because now I have a rule. No one should ever tell Naruto that he's a demon. Meaning, don't fucking be with your hatred or whatever bullshit. And also, if you're drunk, I'm killing you. I don't give two fucks. Stop thinking that Naruto's a demon. He's just a kid. So yeah, Hiruzen really execute Danzo faster. Because, well, Danzo doesn't have the Sharingan or his Sharingan arm. Well, I mean, he did have a Sharingan arm, but he has his seal and all that. You know, that lock with that golden. Yeah, he hasn't, like, released it or anything. So with that happening, cut. Yeah, they basically cut Danzo's head off. And yeah. So Root Ambus, they were somewhat building up, but at the same time, all those Root Ambus that had like seals on them that, well, seal their emotions and, well, kind of if they told the truth of what Danzo did or whatever, a seal in their tongue would explode them. But all those seals kind of just disappear after Danzo was dead. So yeah. Now, Naruto is just very happy. He doesn't know why. He's just very, like, happy. He just walks around. He didn't even notice about the execution. He's just walking around still, being very, very happy. Now, of course, this is where, well, we go into a 2-year time skip. Naruto is now 6 years old, but of course, it's, like, snowing. And Naruto, he's not been affected by the snow that much. He actually likes the snow a lot. Now, of course, it's kind of dark and it's snowing still a lot. And the sun hasn't came out. Of course, Hinata's right now getting bullied by some bullies and all that. This is where Naruto says, hey, can you let go of her? Of course, the bullies just look at Naruto and say, oh, it's just a kid and blah, blah, blah. What is wrong with your hair? Your hair looks stupid and all that. And Naruto kind of like said, even though if my hair looks stupid, it's very rude of you to tell that girl about her eye color. Doesn't have you the right to kind of tell her about her eye color. She looks very nice with the eye color. Naruto said and all that. So he's very nice right now. He's in Rengoku's personality right now. This is where Hinata kind of run away because the bullies let go of her and all that. And of course, this is where the bullies rushes at Naruto. This is where Naruto, he dodges an attack from one of the bullies. And this is where Naruto kind of pokes him in the eye. Just because, well, Naruto just felt like doing it. And of course, this is where the bully can say, ow, my fucking eye, you little shit. This is where Naruto, he was like dodging some attacks and all that. And he was like, what? Very interesting. They punch, but their attacks are very slow. What is happening? Now, Naruto's eye is actually changing. Both of his eyes are actually changing. And actually, lines started kind of going around his like face. So, of course, this is where Naruto's eyes kind of went into kind of like that Akaza, what's it called? Eye color or whatever. And of course, the marks will appear. This is where Naruto, he dodges an attack from one of, what's it called? The ninjas and all that? Or not ninjas, what's it called? The children, the bullies. One of them, their eyes are still hurting, and it was the older one and all that. He's like, get them, you fucking goons. Of course, the two rushes at Naruto. This is where Naruto, he puts his hand out in the air and puts his punch like right next to what's it called? His like near his stomach and all that. And this is where Naruto, he says demon art. Because for some reason he just thought of a demon art real fast. Demon art. You know what? I don't remember half of his like demon art, so let me actually search him up. So where Naruto, he says air type. I think that's one of the techniques. So it's when Naruto punches the air and creates a shockwave. He creates a shockwave knocking two kids away. And this is where Naruto, he rushes at the other one, the bigger, tall one. And Naruto just puts his fist up in the air. And of course, for some reason, what's it called? His sandals and all that he had kind of, what's it called, show off with like bare feet and all that. Which it kind of just ripped off and all that. And this is where Naruto starts just kicking him and punching him in the face. And Naruto's like fighting what's called hand-to-hand combat. Is that of like somewhat taijutsu. Of like how in how Akaza's like fighting techniques is to go like in hand-to-hand combat only to using his fist and all that. This is where Naruto, he actually created an ice like fist and punches the kid really hard in the stomach. This is where the kid is knocked out, and yeah. This is where Naruto says, "What the hell?" Of course, Naruto's like, what's it called? He goes back to normal because, well, there was no sun, and of course, he just transformed into a demon only, just a little bit. Of course, he goes back to looking like his original self and all that. But yeah. So, you know what? We're going to go into a time skip about, well, 4 years. So, Naruto is 6 years old, and of course, he is 10 also. Well, he was 6, now 4 year time skip would just make him 10 years old. So, of course, this is where, well, Naruto is now 10 years old. Now, Naruto, since he was 10 years old, he actually has became a demon most of the time during the night or during when the sun is not showing up, like storm days or anything like that. Of course, with that happening, Naruto has also kind of unlocked what's called the breathing techniques, like the different flame breathing techniques. I don't know why it's stuttered there. The different flame, what's it called, demon techniques. So Naruto has actually made himself a sword. A sword that is kind of like the, what is it called? What are those blades called again? So the swords are like Nichiren or whatever they're called exactly. But of course, that's what Naruto managed to make it out of. Somehow he managed to find the materials and all that to make it out of. And of course, it's where Naruto, when he was like 8 years old, he started learning how to use flame breathing. So yeah, the only way he actually remembers how to do flame breathing is from his like past memories of both what's it called Rengoku and Akaza. So of course, well, Akaza kind of teaches him in ice breathing. Well, not ice breathing. What am I talking about? Ice combat technique and all that. Mostly demon arts and what blood demon arts and his like fighting techniques. And of course, in the morning is mostly that Rengoku's memories came back. So of course, when Naruto's 10 years old, he's in a classroom where a bunch of people don't really like him, and some people do. Some of the girls think that Naruto's very amazing and all that, because, well, Naruto is actually very cheerful. Very cheerful. At the same time, he can be very cold. But yeah. With this happening, Naruto has kind of went against multiple people during the not tuning exams, during like the Genin test and all that, and has easily beat them down while using his sword. Because people notice that Naruto has a sword, but Naruto never uses it. Of course, he goes into fights against hand-to-hand combat. It's where Naruto easily beat them down. Because even though he can't use his blood demon arts during the day, because he's not a demon during the day, he still has what's called the different techniques like Akaza does. So with that happening, this is where, well, Naruto is just, well, kind of what's it called. So, what's it called? Naruto is not in the classroom with like the heirs and all that. He's just in the classroom with like a bunch of other civilians and even some ninja, well, not ninja clan heirs, but just ninja families a little bit. So of course, this is where Naruto, he is just, well, he's actually reigns supreme to be the strongest in the hand-to-hand combat against people. So yeah. Of course, we go into a time skip about 1 year, and of course, Naruto is now 11 years old. This is where Naruto, he has went through the academy, because, well, he hasn't learned how to use shadow clones mostly, since he has tons of chakra, but he's pretty good in hand-to-hand combat. Of course, this is where, well, he's just been kind of just training during the 4 years, during he was 6 and all, and towards when he's kind of 11 now. Of course, he's now put into another classroom, but he has failed, what's called, 2 times. So, during when he was 8 and, well, 10. Since he didn't know how to do shadow clone, exactly. Because no one really teach him. But yeah, of course, Naruto has been in the academy, and actually does kind of just stays in the academy. He doesn't like ditch or anything. He doesn't even prank or anyone, because he's not much of a prankster or anything. He does have like Rengoku's personality to kind of be very in time and all that and all that. I don't know why I say all that twice, but yeah, sorry about that. My eyes and head is kind of hurting a little bit. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep trying to continue, but my head and what's it called, head is gonna keep hurting. I'm gonna just like not pause, end the video there. I don't know. So yeah, Of course, we go into Naruto. He is in the new classroom without his old like classroom mates or anything, because either some of them fail, some of them give up, or some of them just went to another classroom or another. But yeah, but he's in a classroom full of other people like civilians, actually two clan heirs from actually a small clan, and even some ninjas. What's called ninja civilians. Not really a clan, but just ninja families. This is where, Naruto, he just sits down next to the two people who are actually from a medium small clan. This, what's it called? These two people one is with bluish, kind of like brightish bluish hair, and her eyes are kind of dark blue hair. I mean, not dark blue hair, but dark blue. This is where she looks at Naruto and wonders why the fuck Naruto sat next to her. But of course, this is where her name is Sirena. What's it called? Her name is Sirena Hill, and of course, she just looks at Naruto confusedly, but of course annoyed because Naruto sat next to her. Of course, from, not next to her, but next to Naruto also, because Naruto just sat in the middle and all. From kind of next to him is a girl with a reddish, reddish hair and red eyes, but her eyes are kind of more like about crimson and all that. So of course her hair and her eyes are crimson, and of course just looks at Naruto and is kind of confused why he kind of sat next to her. Of course, then again they both noticed that everywhere else was kind of full, both of the kind of clan heirs, and this girl's name is Savannah Ketsuki. Now of course this is where Naruto is just like kind of not tired. He's just very happy to be here and all that. He's just very bright, like what's it called, stars are just flashing from his eyes and all that. And of course, where Savannah and Sarina are kind of confused. They thought that the boy would kind of look at them and all that, because mostly that's what happens in different classrooms. But of course, Naruto hormones aren't really there that much, and he really just doesn't care. Just like Rengoku doesn't really care that much. Neither does Akaza. He really doesn't care about females that much or anything. He's not like the second upper movement, so yeah. And yeah. This is where the teacher says, hello, my name is this, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really care. Of course, he says, we're going to do a kind of it's an academy test of, like, where have you been. Also, Sasuke is in another classroom. Of course, he's being emo as hell. So, yeah. So Sasuke's whole what's called Uchiha massacre still happens. So yeah. This is where some kid kind of ran and opened the door, being late. Of course, it's just this kid with brown hair and of course silver eyes. Well, not silver eyes, kind of like iron, yeah. So iron color eyes. So of course he's just like looking around. He does see what's called Sarina and Savannah and just kind of winked at them. Of course, they both ignore him. But of course, this is where he noticed Naruto just sitting there. And of course, Naruto's kind of just being very cheerful. It's where some girls always like Naruto being very cheerful. So they kind of just very like what's called blush. But sometimes hate the fact that Naruto's sometimes blunt. So Naruto doesn't know what the hell is happening half the time. Of course, Naruto does have his sword and all that. But yeah, now we go into the what's it called, the academy train. So of course his shuriken, kunai from Naruto hits them all perfectly fine. And then so many girls are cheering for him and all that. Of course, Savannah and Siren doesn't know why, but yeah, some girls kind of are from Naruto's old like classmates from what's called when he was 10 years old, because how Naruto was actually one of the strongest kids. And what's it called, when they were 10 years old. The reason why he kind of didn't pass is, he's not great in using shadow clones. So, he failed. So with that happening, Naruto is just like getting everything right and all that. And of course, this is where it's between the fights. Savannah and Sarina are actually going against each other, but they both hate each other. So of course, they are starting to fight each other. Of course, Savannah, she uses blood manipulation, so she does cut like her wrist and all that, and blood starts splitting out, and starts just trying to make weapons out of her blood and all. And this is where Sirena does starts using ice, so she kind of breathes out and like frost breath just appears and all that. This is where she manipulates the air to make ice weapons. So of course she makes an ice spear because she's best at using that. And then Savannah uses two blood katanas, two like blood manipulation katanas. So one is using ice manipulation, while the other uses blood manipulation. The reason why they hate each other is still unknown. But yeah, Naruto, he's very impressed with them. They're like, holy shit, they might be able to rival me. And probably. I don't really care that much. Doesn't work well. Savannah Sirena just starts fighting. Of course, Savannah did try to slice at her with her katanas and all that. Tries to just cut her down. Of course, this is where Sirena dodges and kind of uses her, like, what's called spear to kind of lift her up in the air and try to stab her with the spear at Savannah. Savannah dodges, and of course, Savannah uses her katanas to try to cut the spear down. Of course, when their weapons collide, it does kind of sound well like metal clashing, but pretty much it's not really metal, it's just ice and blood kind of clashing and all that. But yeah, this is where Savannah, she uses her blood to try to slice at what's called Sirena, but this is where Sirena dodges, and of course uses her spear to attack what's called Savannah. Savannah dodges the attack and tries to pierce at what's called Sirena. So of course it goes on for a while and all that. And of course where they are actually getting very tired because they don't have enough chakra like Naruto does or anything. And they're not very great in their like clan techniques. This is where they're getting angry in their last last clash. Like they both kinda did manage to kinda cut each other. Savannah did manage to like pierce Sirena's kind of like stomach a little bit, kind of just did a slash in her torso and all that. This is where Sirena managed to like pierce her in like the kind of chest and all that, or kind of near her stomach mostly. This is where they actually kind of cough up blood and all that. The Chunin had to kind of grab them and get them to the nurse and all that. So yeah, of course he came back and says that was a tie, and yeah, of course this is where the Chunin had to go back to the nurse to check if they're okay, and finds out the nurse managed to heal them because the nurse is pretty good at healing because, there's so many kids that usually wound each other. So she had to become like Tsunade level healing. Not really. She's kind of decent. She's decent enough to see some of the wounds and manage to not cut them up, but cover them up, managing to kind of heal them. So yeah, with that happening, this is where it's the next match. Sirena and Savannah gets back, but of course hate each other that much. But they gotta like have each other, like kind of hold each other up, cause they were the ones who wound each other. So of course they have to be friendly enough to each other so they wouldn't fall down. So yeah. Of course, some of the girls asks Sirena or Savannah if they are okay. And of course, this is where, they just kind of nod slowly. And some of the girls say, oh, thank God. Of course, this is where next, the Chunin Ninja says, okay, next match. It is Naruto Uzumaki versus, Iwa. So that's his name, Iwa, versus Naruto. This is where a bunch of people, mostly girls, are kind of cheering after Naruto. And Iwa is kind of annoyed. But Iwa's actually from a clan. Not many people really care about Iwa's clan, but yeah. This is where Iwa says, I will easily defeat you. This is where Iwa kind of like changes his body into pure steel. Well, not steel, like a weak version of steel. So kind of, not really steel, mostly bronze. Or not bronze, copper. Copper is pretty weak. So yeah, this is where he changes his body into copper and says, this is how my clan uses their, techniques. He had a piece of copper in his hand, so that's why he turns the body into copper and says, ha, now you won't be able to defeat me. This is where Naruto just looks at him confusedly and then just doesn't care that much. So of course his a sword is like white and all that. And so people usually never seen Naruto's sword or ever use or anything. But this is where Naruto, he actually unsheathed his sword. So of course, this is where some people are actually hyped to see Naruto's sword. So some civilians that actually did felt also was actually transferring to Naruto's kind of classroom. So yeah, so they never see Naruto use a sword. But they see how this guy who Naruto's fighting can turn his body into a metal, certain type of metal, if he has it. So, of course, Iwa, or whatever I call him, so Iwa, only had this metal because he managed to steal it, but yeah. Or from his clan mostly. It's just copper and all that. It's small copper. This is where he says, "Oh, you're using your sword. It won't matter because my body is hard as copper. So no one can be able to defeat me." This is where Naruto says, "I don't know about that, kid." Or, not kid. I don't know about that, copper. This is where Iwa says, "My name isn't Copper, god damn it." This is where, well, Naruto says, "I know that. It's just you're made of copper, so I'm guessing your name is Copper." This is where Iwa just says, "You bastard." Some people kind of chuckle and all that, kind of laugh. Even the teacher laughed because Naruto's just making him angry because of, well, his copper skin and all. This is where Sayuna and Savannah, they're kind of bored watching this because, well, they notice what Naruto's very cheerful and very talkative. And this is where Naruto just says, "Even though if your body is made out of copper, I just have to burn through it faster than you can actually, well, block it, can you?" This is where Iwa says, "First of all, you don't have anything that's fire, okay? So you can't burn me." This is where Naruto says, he like breathes in and out. This is where he breathes with his mouth. He says, "First form of," well, he says, "fire breathing style, first form, unknowing fire." This is where Naruto, he rushes with blinding speed with his sword, slashes at what's called, well, Iwa? Iwa? I think I call him Iwa or Iwa. No, Iwa. Iwa, and of course, this is where Iwa, he gets a slash. And of course, his copper was not much of a big help because that slash easily cut through him. And he starts bleeding from it. And of course, this is where Naruto, he like slashes through him, and his sword is like his sword is kind of like outside of him and all that when he just slashes through what's it called, Iwa and all that. And of course, this is where Naruto put his sword back into his sheath and just walk away slowly. This is where Naruto says, "Did you block that, or did you get cut, Iwa?" This is where Iwa turns back around and says, "This is nothing. This is nothing but a little flesh wound." And this one, he tries to go forward towards Naruto. He passes out, fell down to the ground, and is starting to bleed. This is where the tuning teacher just says, "Shit, not again." This is where he kind of gets Iwa and then looks at Naruto and says, "Are you okay, or are you hurt? Or are you bleeding also?" Naruto says, "No, I am fine. Thank you for telling me, teacher." This is where, well, the teacher says, "Okay." This is where he takes what's called Iwa to the nurse. And of course, the nurse had to really just send Iwa to the hospital because that, well, slash is definitely bigger than any other attack she ever seen. So, damn. This is where the teacher said, "Okay, we gotta go back into the classroom before the principal sees us." God, this is where half the kids does ask about Iwa. And this is where the tuning teacher had to say that Iwa had to be sent to the hospital because the nurse could not be able to heal him enough to, well, cover up the wound or kind of cover up the, well, wound that was spilling out a lot of blood. Naruto's the winner. He's definitely just easily slashed through him. Naruto felt kind of bad and says, "Oh, I'm sorry about him, and yeah, I'm sorry about also kind of messing up your clothes." This is where the tuning teacher says, "It's fine. It's definitely part of being a teacher, Naruto. But can you please never do that again to Iwa again?" Naruto nodded, and of course, this is where, well, all of them went back. This is where Savannah and even Sayuna are kind of shocked with Naruto. Naruto easily sliced through him with, well, a trail of fire kind of being behind Naruto. So Naruto run very fast because that's what the first form does. You basically run in high speed towards your enemy and do a slash while fire behind you comes as a trail. And Naruto was already kind of behind Iwa. with that kind of fast speed. This is where some people were impressed and started talking to Naruto about like his like what's it called, fire, what's it called, trail. Of course, the tuning teacher was very impressed, wondering why Naruto never passed if Naruto's this strong. Of course, this is where people are. Some of like his old classmates did ask why you never pass, even if you're this strong and you're able to do these kind of techniques, and you were also very strong without the sword. This is where Naruto kind of just smiles and just say, that's I never learned how to do the clone. Naruto kind of just like chuckles very slowly. Of course, like kind of like what's it called, scratching his back of his head. And of course, some people sweat drop. But of course, they wonder why, even though if Naruto can't do the clone or doesn't even know how to do it, he's so strong that he probably doesn't even need to know the clone. This is where the teacher says, not exactly. This is where he kind of interrupted like half the kids and says, not exactly. Naruto would probably still need to learn how to do the clone. Everyone does need to learn how to do the basic like academy jutsus. Because still with those different jutsus, have what's called strong ninjas like Jonin rank, even Chunin, even Genin. And even the Hokage still uses the basic academy jutsus. Like the Henjutsu. They're trying to get into, I don't know, let's say you're a spy ninja, and that Henjutsu would be very helpful. Naruto says, oh, I know how to do the Henjutsu and the, what's it called, substitution. That's where the Chunin instructor says, see? But the what's it called? The clone jutsu. What's it called? The clone jutsu. We just call clone jutsu. This is where Naruto says, "Oh, I haven't learned that." Oops. This is where he says the clone jutsu is very helpful if you wanted to get away from people, using those clone jutsus as distraction, or use them as distraction for enemies and then cut them down. This is where Naruto says, "I can see that's very helpful for some people." But isn't physical clones more better than what's it called? An actual, just an illusion clone? That's where the tuning instructor thinks about it and says, yes, it's very helpful if you use an actual clone, because that actual clone can pick up weapons and cut down your enemies. But actual clones do take a lot of chakra for only normal Genins. For not normal Genins, for normal Genins, Shunins, and even you, because you're still kids. And Naruto nods and says, I see. Okay. But what if I can make, what if I could make a actual physical clone? Would I be able to pass that way? That's where the tuning instructor looks at Naruto and thinks about it and says, I don't know. I might have to ask the principal or the Hokage about that. So Naruto nods and says, I can go ask the Hokage. He always just lets me ask any question towards him. This is where the tuning instructor says, that's okay, Naruto. This is where, what's it called? A bunch of people are kind of amazed that Naruto knows the Hokage, but Naruto just says that the Hokage is very friendly and would be, what's it called? He's very okay if any kid, like, ask him any question or anything. Because he is okay. It's just sometimes he is very busy with paperwork and cannot see that many kids, or anyone exactly. He's very okay if anyone sees him and actually could talk to him. So yeah. So some kids are actually very excited to maybe talk to Hokage or anything like that. But this is where one kid kind of asks, how can you talk to the Hokage if your parents won't let you? Naruto looks at him and says with a straight, like, not straight face, but mostly a very like friendly face, saying, I have no parents. That's why the old man, Hokage-sama, I can be able to talk to him. Because I have no parents, and no parents were ever kind of, tell me not to. So, yeah. Of course, Naruto didn't tell everyone about how he kind of knows the old man from, him kind of being a guardian somewhat. But yeah. This is where, some people are kind of shocked to know that Naruto has no parents. But this is where some of the girls start crying, feeling bad for Naruto, and they start kind of just like telling him, oh, I'm sorry about hearing that you have no parents, blah, blah, blah. And this is where Naruto says, it's fine. I'm okay with having no one. I'm fine with that. It's not very much of a big necessary about life and all that. some people usually come to my what's it called apartments usually to help me out. Like there's this one time this old lady kind of helped me out and some stuff that I needed and I was kind of confused. Some people are very friendly to help me out. So yeah. Of course, well, yeah, Naruto's talking like that. Of course, this is where some girls will start crying and all that. This is where Savannah and Siren are still kind of shocked, realizing that Naruto is this strong without even a clan, a family, or anyone. He is just this naturally strong and can be very, very, very friendly without any parent. He just has somewhat this like shining bright smile. Not as like bright as Mike Guy. Maybe he will rival him one day, but not like that. So of course this is where Naruto, he just says it's fine. This is where some girls just kind of smile after Naruto saying it's fine and smiles, and of course some of the girls smile on it, and guys were just very impressed how Naruto can be very, very cheerful. So yeah, of course the training instructor heard it, and of course he kind of just understands that because, well, a lot of people did lose their like parents or like their families and all that from the Nine Tails, so he can understand how Naruto's an orphan can what's called he doesn't have parents. Of course, this training instructor doesn't hate Naruto because, well, first of all, that whole Danzo whatever bullshit that happened with the Nine Tails and all that. Yeah, that happened, but of course people didn't believe him because Naruto didn't have whisker marks to prove that he was somewhat the Nine Tails, and his hair was very, very, how should I say, fucked up and could not even be the Nine Tails because it's pink, orange, and yellow. Some people try to say that he has orange hair, but some people I say, then why the fuck does he have pink hair and yellow hair? This is where the people say that just what's called mutation. This is where some people say it's mutation. I don't remember the Nine Tails ever having orange hair. And besides, the fourth Hokage killed the what's it called Nine Tails. So yeah, some people talked about how the fourth Hokage managed to kill the Nine Tails. Some people tried to blame it on Naruto, but that never happened. So of course it was like 50% of the village kind of trying to figure out what happened, and then 75% just decides to just say that Naruto is an okay kid. Over time, people just stopped hating on Naruto and realized it was just their blind hatred of like hating on Naruto. So yeah. So people just forgot about how Naruto was considered to be the Nine Tails one time and point. So yeah. Not many people remember about trying to hate on Naruto, but yeah. So of course Naruto's only 11 years old. Of course is where Naruto he just sits back down into the classroom. Of course is where the tuning instructor starts explaining about history and all that. And like English, not English, what's it called? Reading, writing, and all them other good stuff that you will learn in school, right? Yes, and even Germany. I mean, no, not really, but I'm just kidding. This is where what's it called? Naruto's pretty smart and can actually answer half of the questions. And people can see that Naruto's very smart. Now, of course, with... What the hell was that noise? Sorry about that. This is where, Naruto, he is just like, what's it called? I'm actually gonna go water first. Of course, this is where, the day is over, and of course Naruto's sleeping, but a lot of people are kind of just following him and trying to talk to him. Naruto's very like answering the questions, very polite, very nice, and just smiling overall and all that. And of course Naruto is just kind of like leaving the the grounds of the school and all that. And of course he's going back to his apartment. Now his apartment isn't like abandoned or anything like that. People do live there. His apartment is not that bad looking that much. Like in original canon that much. So of course is where how should I say? Sorry brother, I keep burping. But yeah. Naruto's going to his apartment while two people are actually following him. Of course trying to be very sneaky and trying to kind of follow him. Of course Naruto noticed their presence very easily, and Naruto turns around and can easily see how bad of trying to hide and all that. They are trying to hide because they're kind of wounded, and when they try to hide and all that, their legs is kind of sticking out, or their hand is kind of bloody and actually kind of stuck to, well, one of the, what's it called, walls and all. And Naruto could notice that someone's actually following him. So Naruto, he walks towards them. And of course, this is where Naruto says, I thought someone was looking at me. This is where both of them were next to him. Of course, Naruto just ignored them. Because they were kind of like, how should I say, there was stuff in front of them kind of blocking them. Of course, they're trying to hide, but they realize they have nowhere to hide. And Naruto just looks around and sees both of them and says, oh, hello there, Savannah and Sarina. And both of them said, how did you know we were here? Naruto says, it's just a guess. The problem is, you were really bad at hiding. I could easily spot you from, well, one of your bloody hands and, well, your blue hair, exactly. It stuck out like such a, well, a needle in a haystack, if you want to think of it like that. Of course, this is where Naruto smiles. Of course, this is where Sarina and Savannah just say, damn it. This is where Savannah kind of tells Sarina, god damn it, dye your goddamn blue hair into whatever, a different color. And Savannah says, or maybe you should cover up that wound and stop being a bitch about it. Maybe you should use your damn blood manipulation to cover it up so you wouldn't accidentally leave evidence. This is where both Savannah and Sarina are gonna keep arguing, and Naruto just decides to grab them both from the arms and kind of just drag them towards his apartments and all. And of course, Naruto, when he's getting to the apartments, he walks in. Of course, the landowner kind of just waves at Naruto. Naruto waves at him, and of course, where Savannah and Sarina are kind of trying to hold up on each other, but they're still kind of hurting on it. And of course, the landowner kind of just thinks that Naruto made friends. And yeah, Naruto's kind of just walking up the stairs, while Savannah and Sarina are kind of breathing hard a little bit because, well, Naruto's apartment is pretty much all the way up on, well, the, apartments is pretty much all the way on top. And it's the one all the way on the bottom. Well, not bottom, all the way to the bottom. Well, not bottom to the, just all the way towards the other side of the apartments from the stairs. So Naruto really has to walk pretty far. But Naruto, sometimes he doesn't even walk that far if he wants to get to school. He just jumps off and he managed to catch himself doing some parkour and all that. So yeah. Of course, Naruto, when he gets to his apartments and all, opens it and it looks really nice. Naruto cleans up pretty much. He just really cleans up. This is where Naruto noticed both Sarina and Savannah still kind of, very hurt and all that. And Naruto says, Naruto thinks about it. He just, thinks about it and has, some, medical herbs that he actually managed to pick up. And actually has a book on how to, heal, kind of mix up the medical herbs and all that. To kind of make this kind of, liquid that would be able to heal wounds pretty easily. And so Naruto, he gets the book, opens it to a specific page and all that, goes to read it and all that, and of course he's a very fast reader. This is where Naruto, he finds it, of course he goes to get the herbs, smashes it, and of course is where he turns it into liquid by kind of getting boiled water and all that. So he heats up some water, waits until it boils up and all that. Of course, he gets it. He gets the smash up herbs and all that. He puts the water inside it. Waits until the herbs become, not liquid, but the smash up, redundant of the herbs and all that. Which just become liquid and all that with the hot water. Kind of mixing up and all that. Naruto puts into, two cups. And tells them to kind of put it on their wounds so it will be able to heal. And of course, this is where both of the girls kind of blush. And this is where Naruto says, right, I gotta look away. Naruto, he looks away and he says he can just stay, he can just be out of the apartment. Or you two can just go to the bathroom. And this is where both of them ask where the bathroom will be at. And Naruto points it will be over there. And of course, Savannah and Sarina arguing who's going first. Naruto says one of you can go in the bathroom, while one of you can change here in the, kitchen. Mostly he says you can go into my room, and yeah. Of course, where Savannah goes into Naruto's room, thinking it's just going to be a mess, because even though it looks clean, he might be lying that he doesn't have parents, but it's clean in his room. So of course Sarina goes to the bathroom and just kind of like what's it called? Changes and not changes mostly, but puts the what's it called? The liquid in the wound and all that. So yeah. Of course, she can notice that bathroom's very clean, but she kind of made a mess with all the what's it called? Bandages that she had to kind of take off, and of course there was also bandages in there, like the wrapping of bandages. I don't know what it called most of the time, but yeah. Of course, she like puts the water and all that. It kind of does hurt a little bit. It does sting a little bit. Of course, she doesn't really want to scream or anything, but of course she doesn't want to like scream and kind of be girlish a little bit to like Savannah, because Savannah would just make fun of her. Because yeah, of course Savannah, she does like what's it called? Notice that there's also bandages here, and of course, takes off the dirty bandages that had her blood on it. And of course, when she puts on the herbs, she does also want to scream, but notice that Serena's like next to her near the bathroom and doesn't want to just do anything. So of course, they get out of the bathroom and what's called Naruto's not Naruto's apartments, Naruto's what's it called? Room, and Naruto says, "Oh, you guys are okay, right?" Of course, they nodded, but of course, they kind of have like somewhat pain in their face a little bit. And Naruto says, "Well, if it's not too much to ask, you can eat here. It's kind of getting dark, and you probably are hungry." So Naruto made food. Of course, he's somewhat not really that much like Sanji's level, or like Bong's level, or yeah. So he's not that great at cooking that much, but he's decent. He doesn't eat ramen a lot like original canon, so yeah. So he just made some sushi and all that. Of course, this is where the two of them just eat the sushi, and of course, stars in their eyes just like pops up, and they start eating all the sushi. Of course, this is where Naruto kind of chuckles and says, "Is it good? I'm not that great at being a cook or anything." Is where both of them just nod, and of course, this is where they say, "This is the best food we ever had." "What do you mean you're not good at cooking?" They both said. This is where Naruto just says, "Well, I'm not much of a cook. I'm mostly a ninja, or I can be a samurai, somewhat." So yeah, this is where both of them just kind of stops kind of eating a lot, and then they say that, "Is Naruto really a samurai?" Naruto says, "Not really." They both ask him, "Why do you use a sword, and why does it kind of use like a fire technique?" Naruto says that that's just something that he managed to pick up and learn. That pick up and learn from some library books and all that, or some books that he managed to kind of buy. So yeah, of course, this is where the two girls kind of ask about the books. Naruto says that one time there was actually an accident on the apartment that actually burns him off. Naruto doesn't want to explain that he actually kind of just has him as a flash memory. And of course, they kind of sadden. But then they say that maybe you can teach them. Of course, they said at the same time. But of course, this is where they look at each other and kind of glare at each other. That's why Naruto says, "I don't think I can. I'm not that great at teaching people, so it probably would have not even be that okay." I'm not really wanting to teach anyone that much anyway. I'm still kind of new to myself and trying to learn techniques, or trying to teach myself into learning, making new techniques. I only know one of them, or yeah, one of them. Naruto wanted to kind of, he was about to say two of them, like two more, like the second and third one, but yeah, he just says that he only knows one of them, one technique from the book when he kind of learned it from the imaginary book. Not really, he's only talking about his memory. So of course, this is where they're kind of sad, and they said that, "Is there a way to kind of learn it, but not learn it as a fire style, but instead of like if they're elements?" Naruto says, "I don't really know." Naruto is just kind of smiling, but he just doesn't really know anything about it. He does get some flashback of other people kind of learning it from Goku's perspective, from like seeing other people kind of use a different element. So like water breathing, lightning breathing, beast breathing, butterfly breathing, uh, stone breathing. I think so. Was it? No, snake breathing. I forgot the pink hairs breathing. What's it called? Wind breathing. The guy who kind of looks like a priest. I don't remember what he actually breathing. So I think it was stone breathing also. So yeah, there's just a lot of different breathings, but Naruto doesn't get it that much. But yeah, he just has a bunch of fragment memories that much. And this is where, well, he also remembers what to call Akaza kind of having memories of fighting against demon slayers that use a different breathing. So yeah, this is where Naruto says, I don't really know how it works that much, but yeah. This is where both of them are sad. But Naruto then says that your techniques are very powerful. The fact that you can manipulate blood, could that mean that you also be able to manipulate other people's blood? And kind of over, what's it called? Then he says, if that's the case, then maybe if that's not the case, or that is the case, maybe you can also be able to, what's it called, manipulate that blood to being back to liquid, and then faking out your enemies to kind of switch it back into, well, solid. This is where Savannah just thinks about it, and thinks about it more. And she just says, that is true. I never actually tried that. And this is where she looks at Sarina and says, will you be my test dummy? This is where Sarina says, fuck you, I won't be your test dummy. Fuck off. This is where Naruto says, Sarina, that's your name, right? Sarina nods. Naruto says, you're able to use ice style, right? And Sarina nods. Naruto says, to think about it. You be able to use weapons, of course, you already do that. But you're able to maybe make an armor around your body of ice to kind of be able. Does the ice hurt you in any way, or are you kind of immune to it? This is where Sarina says, kind of immune to ice. So the colder it is, I'm kind of okay. Would you be able to use ice during snowstorms? Like when it snows here in Konoha, would it be able to kind of range during ice to make either ice spikes or kind of make like an, I don't know, what was that one style that I read about? Naruto read about in one book in the library about a style that's kind of similar for what's it called, Sarina. He says sand style. That's the remember. And this is where Sarina says sand. It has nothing to do with ice though. Naruto says no. I mean magnet style. Magnet style is able to kind of use the sand into like defense and all that. Would it be using like snow or ice, or how should I say? If you were in a lake or a river and all that, and you turn the river into into ice, will you be able to control that ice into kind of making a dome of it, or being able to kind of control it to making like a ice dragon or an ice kind of attack? Ursa Irina kind of thinks about it and says, I don't know. And for like snow, can you be able to kind of like use that like sand, not sand, what's it called, magnet style, where you can make a snow snow dome, and maybe kind of use it into making more weapons? This is what Irina says, I don't really know. This is where both Irina realized that Naruto's actually giving them clues and how to use what's it called, their, well, Kenkai mostly. And they kind of thank Naruto about the hints and all that, because now they have a goal to work on. That's where Naruto says it's not that much of a problem that much. That's where Naruto notices it's kind of dark out there, and realizes that he can go demon mode, but he doesn't want to show anyone about his demon mode. He doesn't like showing it off, so yeah. Or anything. He doesn't really need to, like, how should I say? He can transform into his demon mode anytime, how should I say? Anytime, what's it called, will time or anything like that. He can just transform it easily into, well, his will and all that. Well, sometimes. When he was younger, he couldn't really, like, transform into with his, like, will and all that. Well, willingly. He usually was forced to be transformed during the night. But now that he's older and being 11 years old, he's able to kind of not transform during the night. So yeah. Of course, well, Naruto says it's kind of dark. I don't know if you would be able to go home. This is where Serena and Savannah kind of notice Naruto's kind of worried tone. This is where Serena and Savannah says, we would be kind of okay. Naruto says, no, it's fine. I will be able to protect you somewhat. You realize there's some people that are kind of drunk around this part of this village. So Naruto says, so is it okay if I go along? Both Serena and Savannah kind of nod. Of course, they do like talking to Naruto a lot. So yeah, and Naruto's very I should say, powerful and very nice. And not even cocky. So yeah, this is where, well, E1, what's it called, not E1. Naruto, Savannah, and Serena are going, well, towards what's called their clan, houses and all that. Of course, Naruto just walking with them, kind of protecting them. But yeah, of course, this is where, well, Naruto, when he is kind of walking with them, like drunken people kind of appeared. And of course, tell, them to kind of give them their money and all that and blah, blah, blah. That's where one guy said, hey, wait, isn't they're just kids? Why are we attacking them? The other one says, nah, they're kids, but they have money, blah, blah, blah. Naruto really didn't like them that much and can actually smell the alcohol from them. That's where Naruto just said. So where Naruto, he says, we don't have any money and we don't really want to cause trouble. This is where one of them says, who cares about causing trouble, kid? This is where Naruto says, fine. This is where Naruto was about to use, his fire breathing. This is where both Savannah and Serena thought that they were actually going to see Naruto use. Naruto instead went to his demon form. He'd take off his sandals and all that. And of course, they were wondering what he was doing. This is where Naruto said, compressed needle. This is where, well, what compressed needle does, it kind of just looks like this. Actually, not compressed needle. Instead, it's called, distant core or something like that. But let me show you what it is. This is what Naruto uses. So he kind of wrong thing. He uses this where multiple ice attack hits starts attacking the not bandits, but the drunken people, and managed to knock them all out. So it was just multiple attacks. So yeah. So Naruto, when he did that, he managed to knock them all out until one guy was actually behind Savannah and actually kind of has her with a knife and all and said, you better give me your money then, you brat. This is where Naruto, he disappeared and reappeared right next to Savannah, grabs the drunken person and threw him away from Savannah. Savannah says, what the? Naruto? This is where Naruto's hair is all pink and his eyes are different. This is where Naruto, he doesn't have he has a sword, and this is where Naruto, he went backwards from the drunken man and says, he would kind of back kick the ninja and all that, or not ninja, the drunken person, and of course he said crown slider. What crown slider looks like is, this is what crown slitter, yeah, I think it was slitter, I don't know why I say side, slitter, and it just uppercuts the man in his jawline. It's where he took down all the drunken people. They were all knocked out. And this is where Naruto's hair went back to the same normally and went to go get his sandals and says, come on, let's go. This is where, well, they were kind of shocked and amazed with Naruto. This is where, Serena actually asked, how could you use something like ice? I thought your specialty was fire. Naruto says, I don't really know how to explain it. But mostly at night, I can actually be able to transform, mostly. You just noticed that there's a transformation. Exactly. My hair goes pink, fully pink, and my eyes kind of changes a little bit. That's where both Savannah and Serena says, we didn't know that you're ice. Naruto says, I don't want to go back. It's better not to go back. I'm not going to transform again. This is where Serena then says, but you're ice. You are able to use ice. Naruto says, yeah, that is true. I'm able to use ice somewhat. I don't know how far of an extension I can use ice or my fire. But that's just something I've been able to do when I was younger. I've been just training and learning how to use it. But yeah. But let's go. Let's go back to your compound or your clan family or whatever. I just got to go home after this. This is where, well, both Savannah and Serena just stay kind of quiet, walk with Naruto. Of course, this is where when they get to the clan compound, mostly it was only for the, what's called, kind of lower, not the, like, nobles and all that. Like the different elites, well, not elites, different noble clans like the Hyuga, the Abrame, the Shino, or anything like that. This is just a clan compound that's kind of near like like 10 different other smaller compounds for like clans. So of course where Naruto kind of brings Savannah towards her clan, and of course it's the blood clan and all. It's where they are able to use blood manipulation. Of course, Irina's actually being brought towards her ice clan, her Hayoi clan. That means the ice clan. Of course, is where, well, Naruto says, so good luck in using your ice, Sarina. And this is where Sarina nods and all that. Of course, is where, well, Iwa kind of noticed Naruto and says, you bastard. You're the bastard that freaking hurt me. This is where, well, he has actually a friend next to him. And he looks a little bit older, and this is where Sarina says, aren't you the guy that turned his body into copper but still got whooped? That's where Naruto says, well, he kind of put his arm out and says, no, don't tell him that. He would just get angrier. You should go inside. That's where Sarina says, fine. This is where Sarina's parents are telling Sarina, where have you been and all that. But they see Naruto. And, of course, they see Iwa and also what's called, well, someone else. This guy is actually from a clan who's actually able to use fire. He's older, of course. He's like 16 and all that. And, of course, he says, so I heard you hurt my friend. So this guy is, his name is Havino Hono. So he's from a fire clan that's specialized mostly in fire. And of course this is where he says, so I heard you can use fire. Well, too bad for you. You won't be able to beat me. Because I specialize in fire. This is where Iwa says, yeah, you can't defeat both of us. This is where Iwa, he managed to actually get another piece of like metal and all that. And this time this metal is actually iron. So of course his body went to iron, but he's using more chakra than the copper one. Of course, this is where Hayo just like, then bring it on, kid. Or, well, I'm gonna call him he. This is where he means just fire and all that. But Hono means what's it called? Blizz. Just blaze. So yeah. So not blizz, blaze. Yeah. So of course he just says, he goes and turns his body to fire. This is where Sarina's father notices this, and even what's it called? Savannah father also notices this, and we're about to do something until Naruto unsheathes his sword. And this is where Naruto says, do you really want to fight me? Here in this clan district, I do not really like hurting people that much, and I don't really like what's called making trouble towards those who are actually trying to sleep. This is where someone actually appears right next to Naruto, and this guy just has dark blue eyes and dark blonde hair. And he looks at he and says, you really are causing trouble right now? Seriously? And this is where he looks at the newcomer and all that, and says, what's it called? Saban. Screw you. How about you fuck right off? I'm doing something, attacking someone who isn't even from from the clan district. And this is where Saban says, yeah, even though he isn't from our clan district, doesn't mean you have to go attack him. This is where he says, do you really want to fight me? This is where Saban says, if I have to fight, then I will fight you. So Saban is this person with what's it called? What I mentioned is like color and all. And of course, he is 16, the same age as he. So he just says, then let's see if you can defeat me. Saban and he starts fighting. Now Saban, he just rushes at he, and he just uses a water style to attack at he. He dodges the attack and says, your water style. You know how your water style is. Your water style is not that strong as some people is. Not like Tokuyama. And you're not a Senju. But you're from that one kind of, not really a clan, is it? It's like a priestess clan. And Saban says, even though I'm from a priestess, doesn't mean I still can't kick your ass. That's where he says, then let's see if you can. Saban managed to like uppercut, what's it called? What did that call him? Upper kick, what's it called? Just like put his leg up and tries to kick at what's it called? He's head and all that. And of course he managed to dodge the kick and says, you bastard. This is where what's it called? Naruto's fighting against the cop. Well, Iwa. Iwa is trying to punch at Naruto. Naruto's dodging pretty easily. Naruto's really easily dodging. This is where what's called he and what's called Saban are right now fighting and all that. This is where Saban's actually little sister appear, and this is Raven. And this is where Raven just says, Saban, who are you fighting against? Oh wait, it's he. God damn it, not from the Blaze clan again. Of course, multiple people are coming out and seeing this, and of course Saban says, yeah, they're causing trouble again. Can you help out the guy that's fighting against what's called Iwa from the what's it called? Well, not Iwa mostly. Can you really just defeat Iwa? Because Iwa's attacking just some guy who has actually just been helping, I guess, Irina and Savannah from the Blood Clan and Ice Clan. And Raven says, fine. This is where, well, she sees where Naruto's at. Naruto uses first form, unknowing fire, and a trail of flames just behind him appear. This is where Naruto slices at what's called Iwa. And Iwa's like, ugh, you bastard. But of course, this is where he's not hurt as much. You really think your power will be able to burn through my, well, metal? I am iron. You can't be able to defeat me right now. Naruto says, I see. This is where Naruto dodges a punch and easily keeps dodging attacks. This is where Naruto says, damn it, do I have to show my demon form? But can I be able to use that ninth form? No, I can't. It will be able to hurt my body too much. This is where Naruto says, damn it, I have to definitely use one of my demon forms. Well, not one of my demon forms. My demon form. This is where, well, Naruto just keeps dodging, but then he just noticed how many people are here. And this is where Naruto just doesn't want to use it. He doesn't want to actually go berserk. This is where Naruto says, damn it, then I have to use it. This is where Naruto managed to jump away from, what's it called, Iwa? And Iwa says, ha! You notice how strong I am. You from no clan, no family, no one. You have no one at all. Can you really defeat me? This is where Naruto says, I can try. I can try or I can die. Doesn't matter to me. You're just an annoying person that won't leave me alone just because I defeated you once. Some people don't like how arrogant you are. This is where Naruto, he breathes in and out. And he keeps doing this for like not even 2 minutes, like 2 seconds. And the last breath he takes, he went, this is where Naruto says, fire breathing. Oh wait, yeah, fire breathing. Ninth form. This is where, well, this is where Naruto says, ninth form. Rengoku. Flames just start appearing right next to Naruto, and his sword intensify. Now, of course, like around it, it's starting to burn up. This is where Naruto is just on the streets. He wasn't near any like clan district or anything yet. And this is where Naruto says, since he said Rengoku, he rushes at what's called Iwa. Iwa says, even if you are using your flames to just increase, it won't be able to defeat me. Except for the Blaze clan, you should can, but that doesn't mean you're from the Blaze clan. It's where Naruto, he's rushing at what's called Iwa, and this is where, well, behind Naruto just appears a dragon, a fire dragon. This is where Iwa realizes and says, what the? This is where Naruto says, well, what's it called? He didn't say Rengoku. He said at the last minute, Rengoku, ninth form, fire breathing style. Slice it, slashes it at what's it called? Well, not slashes it. Does a, he rushes it and just does a slash at what's called Iwa. And Iwa could not use his iron to block the attack. He gets cut. And of course, this is where it's more in, well, what's it called? The flames increase a lot. And everywhere it's kind of burning, of course. Of course, when Naruto managed to cut him, this is where Iwa managed to punch Naruto in the, like what's it called? In the stomach. Kind of breaking some ribs, but Naruto managed to still cut him. This is where Naruto caught the blood and all that. Because some of the, well, what's it called? Ribs, they managed to pierce something. This is where Naruto's like, oh, shit. His eyes are getting, well, what's it called? His vision's getting blurry. This is where he passes out. His, what's it called? Fire stops, what's it called? Well, igniting and all that. So, of course, he just dropped his sword and, like, passes out. While Iwa says, I defeated you. You think you were that strong? This is where Iwa then noticed, like, what's it called? Slash and all that. And, of course, he says, no, it can't. This is where he passes out, falling behind. Well, backwards. not enforce towards what's called Naruto. So of course he is already like done for the count. He tried to also block with his arm and all that, so of course, well, he also got a slash somewhere. Not a very deep slash because Naruto's body was hurting a lot when he was using that flame style one, the night form. Because if you haven't realized this, but different breathing styles kind of do hurt you if you don't perfect it that much. So yeah. Of course, Naruto was kind of burned also a little bit. So of course, this is where Saban and not Saban, Sayana and Sayuna kind of rushes and says Naruto. This is where Raven kind of stands next to Naruto and says, "It seems that he's okay." This is Sayuna and Sayana. She says, or did I call it Savannah? Savannah. This is where Samuel is right now fighting against the Gaki, and he just saw that and says, "What the? That's a very powerful attack. That could have easily destroyed half that village, or not even half the village. It's that powerful. He even burned the ground itself," he said. This is where Savannah says, "Very powerful. Even if the kid has no clan or family. It doesn't matter anything. Even if he doesn't have anyone, he is still powerful enough to defeat, well, someone from the clan district. And you," he said, "what?" He gets kicked with what's it called? Saban actually turning his leg into water and kicking him in the face and kicking him down to the ground with his leg kind of directing him to the ground. This is where he is knocked out. So what it kind of looks like, it looks like Mikey kind of just kicking some dude kind of down to the ground. Yeah, that's what it kind of looked like. Of course, Saban did kind of grab with his arm to kick him to the ground, or direct him to the ground. So yeah, he's knocked out. This is where Naruto, he's like, well, he's just knocked down. We go into a few minutes, well, not a few minutes, a few hour time skip. And this is where Naruto starts waking up. He's like, he hears like beep. This is where Naruto says, I feel like a fucking headache hit me in the fuck. Not a headache. I feel like fucking eyes. What's it called? He just said, what's it called? He said Akaza kind of punched me in the face with an ice punch. Because Naruto can remember Aizana and even what's it called? Kan-azan and even Rengoku. So of course he thinks about it like what's it called? Either Rengoku fucking punch him or it was what's it called? Inosuke punching him. Cause well, not Inosuke. Mostly if like someone punch him again, like his father. So of course he just says, "Oh, that fucking hurt like hell." This is where Naruto, he opens one of his eyes and all that, and he noticed two people sleeping next to him. Well, not really sleeping next to him, but kind of just laying on him a little bit. But of course, they're right now sitting on chairs and kind of just sitting on chairs, kind of just sleeping on top of him and all that. We're not fully like sleeping on top of them, but top of Naruto that much. And this is where it's Sarina and Savannah. That's where, well, Naruto's like, why are they here? This is where Naruto, he just says, Sarina, Savannah, are you two gonna just lay there, or are you just gonna ignore me being here? This is where both of them woke up and says, Naruto, you're fine. I thought you were really freaking hurt. You idiot, why would you do something like that? Savannah screamed. And Sarina says, yeah, you moron. Even if you couldn't defeat Iwa, even though he had an iron skin body, doesn't mean you had to really say you can try, but you also die. You moron, you could have died. You realize you had almost second-degree burns in your body. This is where Naruto kind of chuckles a little bit, kind of scratching back of his head and saying, oh, oops. I didn't really want to, let that guy keep making, being arrogant and also being kind of annoying. I didn't want him to attack you because of me when I attack him. Well, when I actually defeated him in the, kind of academy fight. This is where Sarina Sabana just says, you idiot. This is where Raven appears, and then she says, oh, he is fine. This is where Naruto says, who the hell are you? This is where Sarina Savannah says, Raven, can you not scare Naruto? This is where Raven says, I'm just checking upon him. You realize the other clan, heads are right now kind of wondering if Naruto's okay, because that attack was very powerful. Some other people managed to see it, the dragon. And this where Sirena Savannah just looks at Naruto and says, we managed to almost hear you say ninth form. You say you probably only learned 3 forms. We're guessing the first, second, and third. Where the hell did the ninth came from? Naruto says, shit, Naruto says, there are Naruto's wounds aren't that hurt that much. Of course, the medical ninja did try to heal him and all that, but his like ribs start healing back and all back into place because of the Ninetales, and Naruto felt like his ribs weren't hurting. And that's where Naruto, he kind of just like throws up the blankets up, and he sees his sword. Of course, he sees that he doesn't have that many clothes and all that on and all that. Naruto grabs his sword, and what he does is just jumps out the window. Like the wind, which where was he on like the floor and all that? He was like in the like, kind of like on top of not on top. He was like on like the 5th floor, and this is where Naruto just fucking jumps out. He just dives through that shit. Is there Sirena Savannah and even Raven widening her eyes and saying, "What the hell?" Is there Naruto? He jumps down but managed to parkour himself down because he managed to grab himself into a ledge of one of the windows and start just jumping down, keep grabbing, and of course managed to like land safely. And this is where Naruto realizes he doesn't have clothes, so he starts running to his fucking house because he just doesn't want to explain that he had a 9th form. He's gonna just stay low from what's it called, Sirena and Savannah, by trying to avoid them, even though he sits next to them during class. But yeah, you think. So Naruto's running towards his house and managed to get to the apartments, and well, his clothes aren't here. He doesn't even know where his clothes are at. Luckily, he has other pairs, so I should mention what he kind of wears. He wears what's called all black clothes mostly, so yeah. Of course, he also has that one coat that like Rengoku has and all that, but he doesn't wear it like in public that much, so yeah. So he just has all black clothes, or even some clothes that has like some fire pattern and all that, because he does like fire and even ice. So this is where he just gets to his house. He decides to go sleep and just fall asleep. He just goes into his bed. Before falling asleep, he just takes a shower and all that, and then falls asleep. So we go into the next day, but this is where I'm actually gonna leave it off. So yeah. Have a nice potato day, potato night, potato seed, potato. And why I'm doing this is because, well, I'm kind of tired. My head is kind of hurting a little bit. And I'm feeling like I'm going to go live later. Maybe. Maybe. Just maybe. Potato.